Roman legion versus Alexander versus Genghis Khan. Who could take a modern military base? This channel has spent ancient battlefields. This time, the scenario is reversed. Three of history's greatest armies, the Roman Empire.
In a fictional strategy simulation, three famous historical armies face their ultimate challenge, a modern fortified military base.
Same base, same garrison, same defenses. 10,000 soldiers per army. The base resets between
A U.S. forward operating base in Khost Province, Afghanistan, roughly 25 kilometers from the Pakistan border. The soldiers stationed there nicknamed it Rocket City because of how often it came under attack. For this scenario, the base is stripped down to its essentials. A mid-sized outpost with a garrison of 200, surrounded by flat, open desert in every direction. The perimeter is ringed with HESCO barriers, giant dirt-filled steel mesh boxes stacked into walls, capable of stopping anything short of a cruise missile. A cruise missile. Behind the HESCOs, 3 layers of concertina wire, razor coils designed to trap and shred anything that enters them.
guard towers stand at each corner, mounted with M2 Browning .50 caliber machine guns.
Firing at 550 rounds per minute, effective beyond 1,800 meters. M240 machine guns cover every approach.
M240 machine guns cover every approach. M224 60mm provide serve as a mobile response element. Every soldier carries an M4 rifle with optics. The base is equipped with night vision.
Thermal scopes capable of detecting body heat regardless of lighting conditions. Floodlights on every tower. Trip flares wired across every approach. And ground sensors along the perimeter that detect footsteps at 100 meters. No air support. No drones.
No artillery from another base. The FOB and its garrison are the only defense. First attacker, the Roman Legion.
10,000 legionaries from the height of the Roman Empire, 1st century AD. Professional soldiers who conquered the Mediterranean.
Built infrastructure that survives 2,000 years later and turned military engineering into a discipline. They had taken
Mesopotamia. None of it prepared them for this. The Legion forms at dawn, 800 meters from the perimeter. Century formations, shields raised, standards visible.
The centurions give the order, and 10,000 men begin marching in disciplined lines across open desert.
The .50 caliber machine guns open fire at 600 meters. A Roman scutum shield is built to stop a javelin or deflect a blade. A .50 caliber round travels at nearly 890 meters per second. The projectile's sheer speed overwhelms the shield's defensive design, rendering the scutum ineffective in this comparison.
Men fall in rows. The centurions respond the way they are trained. They close ranks, tighten the formation, and push forward. Against machine guns, this is the worst possible response. Dense formations are precisely what automatic weapons are designed to destroy.
The testudo is ordered. Shields lock overhead and along the sides. The formation that stopped Parthian arrows and enemy javelins for centuries.
The testudo becomes a concentrated target. Rather than a defense, mortars begin dropping 60mm rounds.
As demonstrated here, a single round affects a wide area. Tightly packed infantry in open terrain are highly vulnerable to the blast radius. Roughly 400 legionaries reach the wire. Concertina razor coils are not a wall to scale or a gate.
They are a tangle of steel that immobilizes anyone who enters. The M240s finish the work at close range.
A Humvee rolls to the eastern perimeter where a cluster of legionaries has piled against the wire. The mounted M2 opens fire. Soldiers along the wall engage with M4s, firing downward into the men caught in the coils. One centurion forces through the wire on momentum alone.
He reaches a HESCO barrier and drives his gladius into the steel mesh, only to find himself striking a wall of packed earth taller than he is. He does not survive the next second. 90 minutes. Approximately 6,000 to 7,000 dead.
He sends Prodromoi scouts on a wide arc beyond 1,000 meters. mapping the base layout, observing the towers, studying the firing patterns. The scouts observe defensive positions, while the base detects motion through active thermal. But distant single riders are difficult to prioritize. The garrison holds fire. This reconnaissance occupied most of the first day. At nightfall, Alexander commits his force. He does not have night vision equipment, but he has darkness, numbers, and a conclusion drawn from daylight observation.
He sends archers and slingers forward in dispersed groups. Fire arrows arc toward the guard towers. They cause no structure.
Lead sling bullets strike metal surfaces. The effect is distraction, not destruction.
Under this screen, 2,000 companion cavalry ride a 5-kilometer arc and strike the rear perimeter at full speed.
Thermal sensors detect them 2 kilometers out. The garrison is now tracking threats from 2 directions simultaneously. Ground sensors along the front perimeter register approaching infantry. Trip flares ignite across the eastern approach, illuminating 200 meters of desert. Floodlights activate from the towers. The darkness advantage disappears within seconds.
But so does the garrison's ability to concentrate fire. Cavalry on thermal behind them, infantry on sensors in front.
Fire arrows overhead, and the floodlights have just revealed 30 small groups of phalanx soldiers approaching the wire from different angles.
The FOB's defenses are optimized for a massed assault from one direction. Alexander is applying pressure from every side at once.
The machine guns open fire. Men fall. But the dispersed approach means each burst accounts for 1 or 2 casualties.
Not the rows of 10 that the Roman formation produced. Some reach the wire. A few breach it by throwing cloaks and captured materials over the razor coils.
Improvised, costly, and partially effective. They reach the Hesco wall and stop. No ladder designed for it exists in their equipment. No siege engine can be brought forward under this volume of fire.
Wire. Taking fire from above. M4 rifles at point-blank range. One companion cavalryman rides the perimeter and locates a vehicle gate.
The one section where the Hesco wall is replaced by a steel barrier on wheels. He drives his horse into it. The horse is killed.
A Humvee inside the perimeter responds, and the mounted gunner eliminates the remaining soldiers near the breach point.
Alexander withdraws before dawn. Approximately 3,000 casualties, 30% of his force. He has tested every phase of the defense.
Identified the gate as a structural weakness and is already planning a second attempt with improvised breaching tools.
8 hours. He reached the perimeter wall and located the weak point, but never breached it. The technologies defending the FOB were specifically engineered to resist exactly the kind of improvised breaching that ancient armies are capable of. Third attacker, Genghis Khan's Mongol army.
Every other army attempted to breach the walls. Genghis Khan identifies the base for what it is: a fixed position. An open desert that cannot move, cannot produce food, cannot generate water, and cannot sustain itself indefinitely.
His 10,000 riders deploy in a 20-kilometer ring around the base, far beyond effective weapon range.
Nothing enters, nothing leaves. The resupply convoys that deliver water, food, and ammunition to this base on a weekly cycle are no longer arriving. The road now belongs to the Mongols. The FOB carries stored supplies for approximately 2 weeks.
Water tanks and bladdles hold enough for 200 soldiers at full consumption for roughly 14 days.
With rationing, perhaps 20 days. During daylight hours, small groups of riders probe the perimeter at 800 to 1,000 meters. Fire arrows are directed at anything potentially flammable. The riders withdraw before the garrison can respond effectively. The objective is not to breach the walls. It is to force the garrison to expend irreplaceable ammunition on targets that are already gone.
At this distance, they produce no meaningful interference with thermal optics. Their function is psychological. The garrison cannot afford to ignore them.
Any fire could be concealing an approach. Sentries watch flickering ridgelines for hours.
Sleep deprivation becomes a weapon that no defensive technology can neutralize. By day 5, water rationing is in effect. By day 8, .50 caliber ammunition reserves have declined by 1/3 from engagement with fast-moving riders at extreme range.
By day 12, the garrison commander is calculating how many days his soldiers can remain operationally effective in desert heat on half water rations.
With chronic sleep disruption, Genghis Khan's total losses to long-range fire during 2 weeks of probing amount to approximately 500 riders.
A casualty rate that is functionally negligible. 14 days and still in progress.
Genghis Khan did not fight the base. He allowed the desert to do it for him. The final ranking: 3rd, the Romans, 90 minutes.
First, the Mongols, 14 days and counting. The only army that recognized the base's true vulnerability was